Hey, good morning, everyone. I just want you to know that I'm opening the show under protest. Liz and Dahlia made me do it because I need to do it. So, anyway, good day from wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to Cut the Shit, Cue the Genius, where you are the geniuses and we just kind of play along. So, we're going to be talking about speakers at events, how we should think about them, what we should do with them, how to prepare them, everything about, and we're talking about amateur speakers because really the keynoters know what they're doing, right? And they have their sort of list of demands. I don't know, the jelly beans or the M&Ms. Is it like rock stars? I don't know. Um, so we're talking about these community members, let's just say, that agree to speak, and how do we approach them and what do we do with them? So I'm going to open up with one topic that kind of, you know, I think about on this subject, which is, the idea that organizations lean on free speakers quite a bit. And what is the point at which a speaker can ask for compensation? What should that compensation be? Is it even ethical to be using free speakers over and over again? And is that a fraught practice right there? So maybe let's just, I know, Dahlia, you have some thoughts. Let's open it up with you. Should we use free speakers all the time, and should we use them over and over? And is compensating them in the way that we do now a good thing?
So it's the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room, and it has baby elephants with it. And I think with the three of us, as well as we did already get comments about it, especially from Adrian, when we said that this is what we're talking about. That the elephant in the room is you can't take advantage of your content creators as well as your speakers, because your content is one of the most important thing, maybe the thing that makes or breaks your event. And so the quick answer is no. You should not take advantage of your speakers and not pay them or compensate them, or tell them this BS line of, oh yeah, show up, you're going to get brand exposure, you're going to get leads, you're going to get like fake money like Monopoly, because everybody's going to love you, kind of thing. So I think with this episode and the chat that we should be having is how you can be overly creative in regards to, first and foremost, have the right kind of speakers, have the right kind of compensation package, marketing package, barter package with them if you want, but not treat them as free speakers. Because on the flip side, here's the other thing: when you have free speakers and they are always in your program, guess what's going to happen? Your attendees are going to tune out. They need something fresh. They need something new. So what are you giving them if you're giving them the same, subject matter experts just because they're free, just because it's easy for you? It could also be a signal that your programming department is lazy. And it could also be a signal that you are just cookie cuttering. Is that a word? Because I'm making it a word right now. Like your events are cookie cutter, cut and paste from the previous event. And we can talk as well about the different types of meetings, because we know that there's limitations like with medical, healthcare, etc. But we see a lot of the freebies within our own industry. Like, how many times have you and Bruno and myself been asked, hey, come down literally on your own dime and be a speaker, because you are the magnet, you are the subject matter expert, but we'll pay your registration. Yeah, okay.
Or not even sometimes.
Yes.
Well,
We've
and there's
been
like
there.
this little dance that you do too. Someone comes and says, "Will you speak? We love you. We love everything about you. We listen to you. We follow you. We adore you, and everything." And you're like, "Well, I'm kind of booked, but what are your what's in a nice way? What's your budget for this?" And then they say, "Oh, we don't have a budget for this, so basically it's free." I think maybe they should just be transparent from the beginning. We don't have budget. We really think that you'd bring value, and in exchange, we've got some things that we think we could do for you. But I don't know, Liz, you hire a lot of speakers, so what do you
Well,
think?
and we do have, well, we have hired speakers, paid them. We have worked with lots of speakers who have been unpaid. And on the flip side, I've done a ton of unpaid speaking engagements and a good amount of paid. So I kind of see both sides. I guess I feel like at the end of the day, like any other business transaction, there has to be value for both sides. And I think that's where we're really talking about.
Mhm.
That is often not the case. I don't want to like blame the speakers, but it makes me feel like if you're not being paid and you're not being valued, why do you keep saying yes? Why are we giving the events the power to get away with this? Because if all their speakers say, no, we're not doing it unless you pay us, then, they're going to start paying. But the truth is that's never going to happen. They're never going to have all their speakers. So I guess people say yes because they don't want to be that spot filled by somebody else.
Mhm.
But I think the more, like in my career at least, there are just clear, even if it's unpaid, there are clear events I want to be part of one way or the other as a speaker. And those catch my attention. And I get plenty of requests that as soon as it comes across, I'm like, no, thank you. Do you want to spend 9 hours judging something or looking at something? It's like, it's a lot of work on my part for something that I'm not getting paid for. And you have no audience or whatever it looks like. I think those are things to consider. So it has to have some value on both sides. That could be as simple as introductions to key people that they want to meet. I don't think it's good enough, though. What do you think to just say you will be promoted on our website and in our social media marketing?
I think that's enough for individuals that are new,
True.
that are really smart and need the exposure and need to break in.
Yeah.
But generally, those aren't the ones that the organizers want, right? They want the people that have influence, the people that know a lot, that have been around a while. So, yeah, I think it's a delicate balance that has to be struck. But another thing I wanted to ask you guys about is, what do we do with the speakers that really do want to speak and they'll do it for free, but they represent companies and then they just sell, sell, sell during the whole time? This has been a problem forever. And I understand both sides. If we want them to add value to a program because they know a lot of stuff, why are we so upset when they talk about their companies? And the other side of that is, how could we get them not to talk so much, but a little bit is okay?
Yeah. So I have a couple of ideas for those companies that love to talk about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You charge them for it. If
Mm-hmm.
there's a place in the program for those snippets or those moments where they are speaking about themselves, there has to be very clear guidelines to it. The time, the format. When people get annoyed, they get annoyed that someone is talking about their company or their services or about themselves for too long. So they just need guidelines, right? So it's like, no, you don't have 35 million hours, you have 10 minutes. Guidelines in the sense of you have to have visuals or you have to go with a certain outline. And a lot of times when I like, especially with tech competitions, this is classic, right? Where it's a pay to play and they say, well, I have 50 slides. I'm like, no, honey, you don't. You have 5 slides and this is the format that it's in. Don't start off with all the logo parade of your clients and stuff. So the clear guidelines actually helps them tell their story better. They don't know it yet.
Yeah.
But it also helps the audience digest it better. If there's room in the program, stick that in there. If you're able to be creative, turn it into a video reel, a marketing reel, do it, edit it, record it with them, and charge them more because that becomes part of their sales and marketing tool. You're doing them a favor. Then the other part is if they have insights, if they have intel, especially of epic fails, successes, ways of doing events better, or ways of doing something better, then have a facilitated dialogue with them where it is someone who is like trained on interviewing, stopping someone from talking too much or about themselves. That's when you can, have them share more. And I mean, I know that you guys know this about me. I'm not afraid of putting competitors on the same stage. Let them have at it, you know. But if it's a cohesive moment where it is of value to the audience, and the audience already asks, I want to know more of this, and they can fulfill that like knowledge base, if you will, then you add them in, but it has to be facilitated. They can't do it on their own. They're not, it's not their go-to. Their go-to is to talk about me, I.
Yeah. And the other thing we've done that works really well is getting them to curate like a panel of their clients or something where they sit in the interview seat and then they get to highlight their speakers, their clients through their slots, but it keeps the focus more on like what they achieved, how they implemented different things. I think that's important. And just trying to, like, to Dahlia's point, they want to just talk about themselves. So we try to frame it like, we're going to help you look like a rock star in front of our audience. Here's what you need to know. And time constraints are super important. And also things like the kind of language they should use, the things they can talk about and the things they cannot talk about. And the other thing is, because they're dying to do that, I think creating space for them to do that is important too. So even if you have, 5-minute demos or something like that, where there's an hour, planners know, or whoever the audience is, they know they're going to sit down, they're going to learn about 10 new tools, but it's only going to take them an hour. And then that part of the program is over. Companies love that kind of opportunity. And then you compare like thought leadership, longer sessions where they get a little more airtime with more money and also just better curation.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got another pet peeve. So we have this scenario where you have, let's call them amateur, non-professional speakers. They're subject matter experts. They volunteer. You compensate them. Fine, fine, fine. Everybody's happy. Then the organizer goes and in the survey asks you to rate the speaker. And the ratings come back, I love the content, but the speaker sucked. And as a speaker, you're reading that. And it's like, okay, you talked me into this. I didn't really maybe want to do it to begin with. And then you give me like my ratings that say, well, she wasn't that great a speaker, but I loved it. In evaluations, you only get the people that are vocal, and that it's usually negative feedback. Should that still happen? Is that fair? And is it helpful to speakers who have volunteered their time?
I think I remember years ago learning from Bisabeau about the 1-question survey, which I think makes a lot of sense. At the end of the event, would you recommend this event to a friend? Yes or no? And it serves the purpose, because I think that people get so caught up in like the venue was too cold and the speaker was not that engaging, but all of that is so personal. What I might love, you might hate. What you might hate, I might love. And really doesn't matter if overall our event is serving our audience and they're like, yeah, I would come back and I would bring a friend next time. And then in your marketing, you can say 99% of our participants would recommend this event to a friend. I just think the nitty gritty is just such a waste of people's time to fill it out. And it's not that helpful. I've seen those responses kind of like, okay, so what did you want me to do with that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, am I going to go home and like go to NSA and become a professional speaker? Probably not. Am I as a planner, when I was a planner, am I going to like immediately act on that? No, because there's just more pressing issues. Like, did anyone show up?
Right.
Did I make money? So I don't know. That's just one of the things. What about you guys?
I think so. When it comes to speakers, there is always this assumption. This is the baby elephant. I'm stuck on elephants today, so bear with me. But there's always this assumption that they know their shit, that they know what they're doing, and that, oh, I know the audience. Well, because they've been there before, right? So what I think we're experiencing right now is this. I was going to say renaissance, but I don't know why I'm trying to use that word. But there's a content revolution happening because of the Corona coaster that we've been through in the last couple of years. It sort of accelerated this. It was already happening from a content delivery and a content perspective, especially with, we're not going to only say events. This is general right now, right? If you don't like, episode 0 on Netflix from a series, guess what? You're going to ditch it. You're going to walk out, you're going to take your popcorn, and you're going to leave. And recently, I've seen like these events that are quote unquote coming back. Hello. They're coming back to what? I don't know. Actually, it's an oxymoron. They are coming back. But, and they're depending on their speakers that they're going to do this kick-ass job. Well, have they been, and I'm not saying event profs are not doing this or don't know their job, but if the speakers don't know the audience and don't know the buttons that they need to push, and they don't know how to be interactive, and they still have 300 slides, for example, they don't know how to deliver. But the most important skill that's needed right now is to shivot. And what I mean by that is, if a session is going wrong, where you have people walking out and you have people that are not interactive, or you have people that are tuning out or playing Candy Crush on their phone, you need to have a speaker that can just change and flip the script, like right on stage kind of thing. So there's been this flurry of industry events, and on social media, some people have been very, very vocal of like, oh, giving the keynote speaker or the speakers. Craig wants me to leave Candy Crush out. All right, I'll leave it out for you. So the speakers, people have been leaving the sessions, walking out. Oh, I gave them 10 minutes. Oh, I gave them 15 minutes. It is the planner's responsibility to actually engage speakers that know how to shivot, that know how to switch a room on if they think that the room is off. And so this is where your speakers, if you are hiring speakers for free, just because they want the limelight for 45 minutes, you got to make sure that they're performers. They have to be performers. They have to be performers on screen. They have to be performers on stage. They have to be performers during the whole entire time. And this is part of the barter. When I get asked to speak, I think Liz, Bruno, you're the same. We look at it. What are you giving me? If you're not giving me compensation, which it should be, then tell me, what are we doing together that is going to enhance the audience experience? Is it co-marketing? Are we doing something like a touch base, a live Q&A pre-event, like to know and engage from the get-go? That actually is appealing to me as a speaker. I get asked all the time to speak for free. I'm like, but what are we doing different? And so these are just two points when you're looking at your speakers. I've seen keynote speakers freaking bomb their keynote. Like, I remember clearly at a Connect show where Martha Stewart took the stage and was flipping through her like Instagram, showing pictures of like beautiful parties that she put together, and called 5,500 event professionals party planners. Well, guess what happened?
Mhm.
It was a shit show. Someone was trying to like shut down Twitter because of the comments that were going to. And I believe Angie Aarons was actually there. Like her face. But like, so this is, if you don't know thy audience, and if you don't know how to like, you know, tap a speaker on the shoulder and say, guess what? You're bombing. You got 2 seconds right now to turn this around. If they can't do it, they should not be invited back. But everybody says when you say free, you get free. You get the quality of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're talking about is so important for an event, but it should be paid. If you're going to ask people to stand on their head and watch the audience and do all these unique things, that's a skill set that people hone and it should be paid for. There's a difference between I'm a researcher and I know my shit and I just am going to tell you what I know, and a keynote speaker. There's a difference. And I think that you should be paid accordingly. And a lot of that comes down to the preparation and the on the planner side. I mean, for every speaking gig, whether it's paid or not, my level of investment in the event is typically in line with what I'm getting. I just did a very small speaking session for free for Leslie Bailey. And it was, he was so on it. So we did like several prep calls to talk about how we would do this session, and then an engagement activity and what the goals were and who the audience was. And I spent a lot of time just thinking through and looking at her Google Doc and stuff that I wouldn't necessarily do for any other free gig when the planner doesn't really follow up with you. They don't give you any details and you're just like, I guess I'm just showing up and winging it. And what I got in exchange were these 2 really cute beach balls with my kids' names on it. It was very personalized and really, it was very thoughtful. And I thought that kind of experience that's a great free, like if you're going to do it free, that's a great way to do it. But that just doesn't happen most of the time. It's like the planner's like, hey, are you available on this date? And then the day before they're like confirming you're speaking tomorrow. Like, I don't know who I'm speaking to, what I'm speaking about. It's really confusing.
Yeah. So PCMA has over the years done an excellent job in preparing speakers, shepherding them through the process, and being really good about finding speakers that are a good fit. And the way that they do that is they hire outside consultants whose job it is to develop that speaker and develop that content to the point that it's ready for prime time. And in that process, they create, they give you the tools and the platform software and everything to have calls with like a committee that's within that vertical that actually are outside subject matter experts. And you bring them in with the speaker, the intended speaker, and then everyone can weigh in on whether this topic will resonate, that particular point that you're going to make is a good one, leave that out because, our audience won't care. So in doing that, PCMA is able to go outside their usual suspects, as Dahlia would say, bring in people that maybe don't know the industry very well, but then they allow them to learn about what's relevant, what's not, and they shepherd them through the process, and it's worked really well.
Yeah, I think we have so Mark has a question here. Do you think you should rehearse the speaker prior? Heck yeah. Hell to the yes. And I would say not only from a tech side. Oh, does your mic work? Does your video work? Is your lighting great? Are you wearing something that, won't make people dizzy? I'm talking about, rehearse them in the sense of role playing, in the sense of how interactive can they be? Are they, actually go through a couple of the slides that they might have, look at their content, prior to. We were asked by one of our clients, we were doing their virtual workshops, and there was very low engagement from the students online. with the instructors. And when we took a dive into their, you know, their decks, the amount of clip art would make you cringe. It was ridiculous, you know. So I'm like, can we just have those 75 speakers and just put them through a workshop? In the end, some of them came like, what are you going to teach me? I'm the teacher. I know what I'm doing. Blah, blah, blah. I'm the speaker. I know what I'm doing. And I'm like, just listen up. Just like, let's show you what we got. And we went and redesigned with them. And we put in prompts. It was color coded so that people, if they saw a purple screen or a slide, they knew a question was coming up, you know. So there's a lot of education. I don't know what you call it. There's psychology behind it. And there's ways of where you can like be interactive. The speakers, they need that. They will be so much loyal to you. So what if that is a perk? So
Yeah.
we're talking perks. Liz, you got the perks of, you got asked to work, you know, to do the free session, but you got Lucas and Riley beach balls. My God, that's awesome, you know? And so like, what if the perk is, hey, we love for you to speak, but we're also going to put you through a boot camp just to see how you're doing, give you advice, look at your LinkedIn, help you with like more speaking gigs, all of that. That is a form of compensation that I would actually find respectful to me. If you can't pay me money, I agree. Okay, your budget is shite at the moment. I don't want you losing money, that's for sure. You cannot play the card anymore. Show up and you will get leads and brand exposure. No, I'm good with that. Thank you very much. But if you tell me, oh, well, we have this new audience that we're trying to nurture, or we have like this set of, you know, attendees that are like corporate marketers or corporate something, and we know that maybe you'd want to talk to them. Maybe we can do like a little meetup later on, etc., or something. Get to know your speakers and get to know what you can do to compensate for that, like show up and, you know, and I might give you really bad coffee afterwards, because that's usually what happens. But the thing is, you know, the commitment has to be from both sides. The one thing that I worry about is because of the amount of content creators that are out there, you know, everybody now is a content creator. Some of them are kick ass. The younger ones, they are going to flip you off and say, no way, Jose, are you going to like take me and my intel and my, like, you know, what I know and tell me that I'm going to, you know, do it for free for you. So you have to be creative, or else you're not going to be inclusive. You're not going to change the energy. You're not going to change the intel. I worry about those that keep going to their free bucket, especially on the medical, you know, shows and the healthcare shows. I know they need their experts, but the experts that they put on stage have to be tag team with younger experts, because that's how you will keep getting your unusual suspects and another attention span, if you will, from your usual suspects. So those that are on stage need a jolt of something to get them to think different. What more are you going to give me? And you know, there's rooms where you and Bruno and myself, we gravitate to specific speakers in our industry. But then we come to a point where we're like, we love you, all of you, especially whoever's on the stage. I'm not going to name names, but it would be fantastic if there was like some sort of others next to them. And then that could be, I think, more value. You would have to think of, for those little newbies, you know, potentially maybe mentoring can be a compensation for them, because my God, they are valuable. They're awesome. Their head is 300 miles per hour, like faster than you and Bruno and myself and everybody that's watching, but they do need mentoring. And that could be a form of compensation.
So I've got one more thing, Liz.
Pet peeve.
technical rehearsals. So I've been in situations where I'm the speaker. This can be face-to-face event or it could be online. The technical rehearsal is like 2 minutes before you're on, you know, or I've been on the other side as more of the organizer and content, developer, and the speakers are too busy to show up for the technical rehearsal. So it's a simple thing, but doesn't always happen the way it should. And what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's so important. We're dealing with this all the time this week, every week. I think part of it is explaining your expectations up front, and
Mhm.
especially for free gigs. I think it's great to do rehearsals, and tech checks are critical, whether again in person or virtual. But you also have to be respectful of people's time. Like if you're asking them to speak for 30 minutes, you can't. I have had this experience so many times on the speaker side that I'm supposed to do a 30-minute session and then they want me on for 2 1-hour tech checks while they're just putzing around in the background, like figuring things out. I'm like, no, you get your tech figured out first and then I'll join you for 10 minutes and we'll
Mhm.
make sure it's good. So I think it has to be communicated up front. What are you requiring?
Mhm.
And then it has to be a commitment. I mean, we're at the point where it's like you can't get on stage if you haven't tested. And we'll make lots of slots for you to test. We'll make it very easy for you. Like literally our tech checks for virtual events are 10 to 15 minutes. You have to be in your location. We always are like, you can't tech
Not in
check
the car.
your house
Be in
and
the
then
car.
take a call from your airport or car.
We're gonna have one event which is just people in cars, Dahlia, for
We
you.
should.
Do you know how many people would tune in?
Yeah.
It's true.
Corden did it. This whole car
Yeah.
karaoke thing is a flipping thing. I tell you, it works.
Yeah, and then the whole audience is like going, "Is she gonna crash? What's gonna happen?"
But that's
And
the
then you have
suspense.
kids in the car, are they gonna
That's the
scream?
suspense.
Are you gonna
They're gonna scream.
is your
Yeah.
coffee gonna spill over?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Sorry
No,
for
no.
Dahlia interrupting you, Liz.
No, I think it's just so important to do them, but you have to be respectful about how you're doing them. Same with content. Like get your plan together, then have a call and here's what we want to achieve and here's what you can do and here's what we're doing and but I mean doing them is like a non-negotiable. Every time someone skips it or even when like we do them and they're in the wrong location or something, there's always an issue. Always.
Yeah.
Even
Well,
when
There's
they
always
do
an
the tech check,
issue.
there's an
There's
issue.
always an issue, and there's no backup plan.
Yeah.
Never. I mean,
For you to even find a cell number or like the proper link or something within a calendar invite, like to yell help, it's like it's crazy right now. It's crazy.
Well,
yeah.
we gotta close this out, but
I
I'm gonna
know.
say that when we had only face-to-face events, the big thing that everyone was freaked out about was when you had that screech of the microphone, the like, and it scared the hell out of everybody. And now it's the mute button on and off. So the mute button is the new microphone screech.
Screech.
Anyway.
I wish that was the only concern with virtual events. My
Yeah,
God.
there are many. Anyway, that kind of does it, ladies.
Yep.
We can
Okay.
always talk about more stuff, but that was a lot for
Yeah.
30.
Yeah, that was a lot.
So Liz, maybe you take us home because you've got the like banners and tools and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. Oh, I'm supposed to do that stuff. Good reminder. Thank you. We're a very well produced show here. Please, everyone, thank you for participating. We love to see your comments every time. We always say that you guys are the genius that we're hoping to cue by just we ramble and talk about things, pet peeves and ideas. And then we hope that you'll kind of take it from there and come up with amazing things that you'll share with us. So please go to this website, dahliaplus.com/cue the genius. And let us know if you want to join as a lifeline, if you have a topic you want us to talk about, if you have, I don't know, feedback for something that you hate about what we're doing or that you love.
Or more pet peeves.
Yeah, if you don't like the way we speak, too bad.
We're not taking audience surveys, but we are taking your feedback. So please let us know how we can better serve you and how we can continue making these valuable to you. I know I enjoy these conversations every week, but we want to make sure we're not just, we could do this offline if it's not helpful for anyone else. So thank you. Thank you for joining. Michelle and Dahlia, thank you for your time. I know you're both very busy ladies. And we will be back for another episode next Thursday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. A webisode, right?
A webisode.
Mhm.
It's sexier.
It is.
All right, folks. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.